everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Baseless Speculation, a base reaction to Thunderbolts Asterix. I'm Joel.
I'm Jackson.
And I'm Joel.
And what did we think of Thunderbolts Asterix?
Okay, so full spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what?
yeah,
You've
yeah,
already
yeah,
stopped listening because I've already said the magic word, full spoiler.
How about this? Hey, it was good.
It's good.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
If you don't want anything else about to hear our bullshit, just go watch it.
Yeah.
It was actually very good.
Yeah.
Like,
we all had a good time.
wow.
Go
Yeah.
watch it, then come back and listen to the rest.
Yeah, and,
now,
and-
spoilers from here on out.
this time we're serious spoilers.
Yeah.
So when we went to the screen, I just want to talk about this first.
Okay.
When we went
Get
to
out of the way.
When we went to the screening, we sat with Nick Mason, our good friend, and he made a joke that the asterisks on the popcorn bucket and the pass we had 6 stars, 6 points, but the one on the screen had 5, and he's like, "Whoa, that represents how many guys are in the team." And I wonder if because there's 5, it means that one of them's going to die straight away.
Yeah.
And Taskmaster gets shot in the head.
Yeah,
Immediately.
wow. It was very funny.
I've said this before on this podcast, probably another podcast. I think it's really funny whenever you get the novelty popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
I think it's become less funny now that that's like a thing, you know?
Well-
like the Dune popcorn bucket or
No, but
whatever.
that's different. That's a different funny than
That's
what
true.
we experienced yesterday.
Yeah. We saw at the cinema concession stand, and I am kicking myself because I didn't bring it in. But I swear to God, Baseless Speculation fans, base heads, that we will have it somewhere in the background in upcoming episodes because I will bring it in. They had I think it was meant to be a combination drink bottle popcorn bucket. Now, the drink bottle is in the shape of an asterisk.
A six-pointed
asterisk.
as made famous by the film Thunderbolts.
Yes.
Asterix.
And when I asked for it, the guy was like, "You're going to have to put the drink in." It's too hard. I was like, what could he mean?
I would just like to say shout out to that guy. He was the big boss of that cinema. Like,
Damn, dude.
It doesn't go higher than him.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he was just like, no.
He was like, it's awkward. And I was like, what?
I'm bigger than this. And you.
And he's correct.
He was
Yeah.
right, dude.
Yeah,
And
it
He was
then-
a site manager.
Yeah.
It's an asterisk in the shape of asterisk, like 3D printed asterisk.
Yeah.
And then it's like surrounded by a circle.
Yeah, and it's got a slot
Like a
in a kind
cylinder.
of like tub
Yeah, so
that you slot it into.
And so like the cylinder has, the inverted asterisk.
Yeah.
So it's sharp.
So if it was a popcorn bucket, you shred your hand going in to get the popcorn out.
Yeah.
And when you take off the lid of the asterisk, which is also, it is just the top of the asterisk, the hole is the middle of the asterisk. And you've got you have like a fucking concession stand Coke, which you need a funnel.
Like,
We should upload to the YouTube, and I know that this is a lot of work, and if we don't do it, this is an idea asterisk. If
Okay.
it's not there at some point in the next couple of weeks, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
We should just film like a 3-minute demonstration of you just unboxing
Yeah, we
the
should.
asterisks and talking about
because
it.
like,
a companion
honestly,
to this
yeah. I think
that's a
episode.
great
like,
idea.
you'd think, okay, you got the asterisk, already a wild shape to drink out
Insane
of.
choice.
And then you got
Insane.
like, okay,
It does look like an anus.
Yeah.
It does, which is what we love about
That's
it.
what made me laugh,
Yeah.
in the first place.
And so you're like, I guess, you think, okay, I'm going to take off the top of the asterisk.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be like all empty space,
Yes.
right? Like a whole lid.
That's
so you
what I
can be
assumed.
like, okay,
No.
cool. A, I can just easily pour in my Coke
Yeah.
and I can then easily clean the sticky Coke out of this later. But no.
I don't know how you're meant
no.
to clean this
You
thing.
rinse it.
Yeah, I guess.
Also, they're not really meant to be reused, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you might be
they
right.
shouldn't.
I think it's just meant to look great on your shelf.
I think so. It's one of those ones where it's like, you like gotta check if it's like BPA free or whatever,
Yeah.
like certain like plastics, like this will, like won't break down, so you can kind of keep reusing it. Opposite, this will like the moment soda hits that, you're getting like
It's
macroplastics in you.
It's lucky I couldn't pour the only thing I could get in there was my bottled water.
Yeah.
Because
And- yeah.
otherwise I'd be
Which you were
sick.
then upset about.
Well, and
Well,
then,
yeah, because it was heavy.
Yeah, you're upset because you're like, oh, there's
And I had
water.
diarrhea. Okay. From a hot dog I'd had earlier.
And then you were like, let's go back
It
to the
was,
hot dog place
so
that
funny.
gave me diarrhea.
Yeah, we were like, oh, we should have some dinner because like I hadn't eaten, Nick hadn't eaten, and we're just like, all right, let's go get some food. Well, we get thinking, like, we had joked beforehand, or I had been like, hey boys, get some hot dogs in the city.
And Jackson was
so
like,
he's like, let's get some hot dogs. I won't because I had a hot dog prior. I'm like, all right, let's go get some hot dogs. Hot dog may have given me diarrhea, he claims.
Yeah.
Me and Nick had a burger
Yeah.
from a different place.
We don't know
We were colored by Jackson's, I guess, review. But then Jackson went back to the hot dog place and had donuts.
Yeah. They didn't give me diarrhea. Oh, maybe they did.
Did you have diarrhea again?
Yeah, but it might have been more
could have still
diarrhea
been
from earlier.
Did you have diarrhea before Thunderbolts? Could Thunderbolts have given you diarrhea?
I didn't, actually. I felt fine before Thunderbolts. It was toward the end when it came to the sort of conclusion of the movie. I was like, oh, rumbly.
Oh, I'm going to have diarrhea soon.
I might have diarrhea.
And then in a panic, you also left the cinema walking past the cinema toilets,
Well, 'cause
not
it was gonna
waiting
be
for your
packed.
friends.
He
That's
was,
what I was
he
thinking.
was right. He was right
The
to
cinema
do that.
toilets were going to be so full.
Oh, yeah, it was like 3 big screenings.
Yeah.
Or 2 maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
So I
There
was
was
like,
1,000 people there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
also, what I love about the Asterix cup holder,
Yeah.
when we go back to that for 1 second, is like, you
Well, this
can't...
ties into the diarrhea
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the
yeah.
highlight for this
Well,
is...
you can't drink out of it. You need a straw.
Yeah.
And because the wonderful thing, of course, the plastic straws are killing penguins or whatever. We only have paper straws
Yeah.
that don't really fit into
No.
that particular hole
and
of said asterisk.
because the concession drink I was given, I was meant to pour into my asterisk. I hadn't been given a straw for that.
Yeah.
So I had to take the straw out of that, put it in my drink because I couldn't drink it, and then I put water in my asterisk drink and drank it like a big baby by sucking it out of the hole. And then
And it's in the center too, so
I know.
you really got to
I was
angle it.
fully milking that asterisk. And then, yes, because I had, obviously, it's my responsibility. I have to carry my popcorn bucket and drink around. When I went and had diarrhea,
Yeah, you put it
I
on
had
your
to
lap.
take it with me and put it on my lap.
That's crazy.
Where else am I going to
I
put
can't
it?
imagine taking a shit and putting something on my lap. That's just sitting on your bed, dick and nuts.
It felt, I kind
Of
had
course it felt bad. You flip it over and all of a sudden you're fucking it.
Where else would you put it, I guess?
On the floor?
I didn't want to put it on the floor. That's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
But then at least you can wipe. I mean, you can wipe it.
I can
guess,
wipe
either
it
way.
from my dick and nuts are cleaner than, despite all appearances, my dick and nuts are cleaner than a public
Hey,
toilet.
No, actually, because
all
it
you
was
base heads
Yeah.
that are listening and watching, let me know in the comments. We're like maybe 6-7 minutes
Yeah.
in. Did you think there would be this much diarrhea talk
Yeah.
when we were like, hey, we reviewed Thunderbolts and we saw
Hey.
Thunderbolts and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't yet
I've
talked about Thunderbolts.
about 3
Well,
diarrhea
we revealed
incidents.
we revealed one big spoiler,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah. Sorry,
But
yeah. Oh,
it
you're
wasn't
right.
a-
You are right.
You know what? I reckon your dick
me
and
know.
nuts were
Yeah.
actually dirtier than the floor because we were at the casino.
That's crazy.
No, at the fucking
That's
casino,
crazy.
they keep everything pristine, and if you cause any kind of kerfuffle, they
Yeah.
take you into the back rooms. There's back rooms at the casino.
Like
you
from
do not want to be
internet
in there.
memes?
No, the back rooms from like the room.
Take you into the back rooms,
Yeah.
dude, and you're trapped there forever.
Oh my god, this liminal space.
No, I mean,
No,
you're
there's,
probably
there's secret corridors.
Yeah, that is true.
I've been in them, not
They're
because
gonna
I was.
hit you with a billy club or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
No, I
dude.
wasn't in the
Break
back
my
rooms
legs.
for
Causing a
nefarious
scene,
reasons.
shitting
It's
on the
because
floor.
it's
Yeah.
because you also, like when you work at the cinema, there,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I have done.
Like the Disneyland tunnels or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Get
gotta
it.
get
You
from-
worked at a cinema. Fuck.
Brother, you gotta
I
understand. You gotta understand
Christ.
that that's the only point of reference I have in my entire life. I'm 34 years old now, and I worked at
yeah.
a cinema for 16 of them.
That's
That is crazy.
understandable.
That's like
Man,
nearly half
I
your
wish
life.
any of us had an office job.
Oh.
It sounds wonderful.
I
and
mean,
magical.
some of it was office for me,
Nah,
but then
Yeah, but
not the same. Not
cubicle
the
office?
same. Yeah, see?
the manager's
No,
office
no,
was
no,
like
no,
a
no, no,
cubicle.
no, no, no. I'm talking 9 to 5
Yeah.
office
Yeah,
every single day.
dude.
Yeah. I worked at a call center for a bit.
Oh, yeah. It's close.
Yeah.
I do love the idea. I love that, and I think I've said this before. I can't really conceive of what happens in an office.
Same, dude.
Like when you get down and sit on the computer.
Our
Like,
friend
yeah.
Cass works in an
What's on
office.
the
We can just ask
screen?
her, but she'll probably just say, I don't know.
Because my wife used to work at it's like office and different kind of things, and like she'd tell me stories, although like the office gossip, and it was like, it was fabulous.
That's
She'd be like, "This is
amazing,
not
dude.
interesting." Like, it is the most interesting
Yeah.
thing in the world.
It's
to
so
me.
alien
Tell
to
me
our
more.
lived experience.
Yeah.
You know?
I've only had I've had a bunch of jobs, but none of them are like normal.
yeah. yeah.
Like, so, I don't, yeah, again,
I was
also
a
like
tennis coach.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like I would never have picked that.
For like 2 years.
Yeah.
I was coaching children.
That rocks.
Yeah.
Get back into it.
Yeah, man.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm
Fuck
doing
it.
this.
Maybe
They won't let
could,
me near children anymore.
Yeah, that
You
makes
could,
sense.
you could train the next
Pierce Brosnan?
Pete Brosnan?
Peter Andre? No. Pete Agassiz? No. Agatha?
Andre Agassi.
There we go.
Pete Sampras.
That was the guy I was thinking of.
Leighton
Pete
Hewitt.
Sampras.
So close to so many
Yeah, I
tennis
know.
guys.
Leighton Hewitt. Is he
Yeah.
a runner? No.
Leighton Hewitt. He's the come on guy.
I'm thinking of Matt Shervington. He has a giant penis.
How many
That's
tennis
that's
guys do you
awesome.
know? What the fuck?
What do you mean? Well, I've listed like 4.
Yeah.
Tennis has been going a long time.
I don't think I
dude.
could list one tennis man.
You wouldn't have got Leighton Hewitt or Andre
I
Agassi.
would not have got. Yeah. No. What about the
the
guy
fuck?
who yells at everybody?
Um,
He did acting for a bit, maybe. He narrates a thing on Netflix that I've watched. It had the guy from Heroes in it.
which guy?
The
Hayden Panettiere?
no,
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
No,
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
The guy that turns into a spider, maybe.
Haven't seen Heroes. Can't help you.
Damn. Anyway,
any more
he's
ten-
dead, and he's
Yeah,
narrating
that's
What about the
crazy.
tennis lady?
Yeah.
She maybe has a twin?
I can name some tennis.
Oh, there
ladies.
is
Oh wait,
twins.
you talking about Serena and Venus?
Yes!
Yeah.
I was close to remembering
Serena
their
and
names.
Venus
Isn't there like
Williams?
some
Yeah.
Australian redheaded twins, maybe? Or am I thinking of
Dunno.
just doubles and they're
I
not
think that
twins?
people would be more surprised by our listing of tennis names than the diarrhea.
Yeah, to be honest.
I think the diarrhea, like
but
if you
then-
did odds,
You would like what Pat Rafter. You would.
He's very comfy on these. The Bonds.
You don't
man.
know Patrick
I don't know
Rafter.
this man. I don't know tennis man.
You don't know Pat Rafter.
Have you seen tennis?
Yeah, I've watched the tennis.
You've watched the tennis.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have.
When it gets hot, sometimes we put the tennis on in the background.
Dude, they did not
And I
even.
hear, duck, 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 and I go, God damn, they're hitting that ball.
Maria Sharapova,
Yeah.
I don't know these people.
Anna Kournikova.
I don't know these
You
people.
don't know Anna Kournikova.
You know Anna
I don't.
Kournikova.
She was like people went crazy. Like she rotted people's brains
Yeah,
in the 90s.
man.
She was hot, so it made people go
Yeah.
like ape horny.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it was Goonin before Goonin.
I guess I
Tennis
missed
Goonin.
tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The guy that's
Fucking
like,
sue
was
me.
it like the anti-COVID vaxxer that got like detained for a bit?
Yeah.
Him?
Was that Djokovic?
Yeah, Djokovic.
Djokovic.
Wow.
What about Roger Federer?
It's a familiar name.
You just.
I saw him at a restaurant once and he waved to me.
Whoa, and he was like, oh my God, Joel Dusha.
It was actually the same place we saw Thunderbolts.
Whoa.
I was walking past him. I wasn't even in the restaurant. He waved to me. He was sitting
weird.
next to the window. And like I walked past the window and I was like, oh shit, that's Roger Federer. But I thought that. I didn't say it.
Yeah.
And then he locked eyes with me and he just waved.
There's
Maybe,
two-
hey, do we think he could possibly, why he's so good tennis?
Yeah.
Maybe he read minds.
Yeah, I was going to say we got two possibilities here. One, Roger Federer is a huge plumbing the Death Star fan. And it's like, oh shit, Joel Dusha. Oh shit. Or he can read
Imagine
minds.
I'm walking past Roger Federer and he's like gesturing me to come in. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
What's my night about to become?
I am a huge fan, by the way. I know this other kid that I'm training him as well or whatever, and he says my biggest inspiration was my Australian tennis coach when I was a wee boy, and it was Joel Dusha. And I'm like, surely that can't be the same Joel Dusha that I listen to and I love.
on famous pop culture comedy podcast, Plumbing the Death Star.
And then I put two and it was you, and now I'm seeing the man in the flesh. Such a big fan. You're
And
the
while he's
greatest.
thinking that, I'm thinking, what the fuck?
I like
And,
that
and he's like, I know, I heard that.
I am
I'm
also-
also a mind reader.
Ah,
It's
that
both.
makes sense.
and I'm putting together a team of the greatest tennis coaches to ever exist.
I only ever taught kids how to do forehand and gave up the moment that, because backhand, it makes kids go dumb.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
I don't know. Like, they can't do it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's too much for kid brain.
Yeah.
Okay, Thunderbolts.
Anywho, Thunderbolts, yes, good film.
Great movie. Shockingly good.
They did the thing that I hope that. Okay, so they did the thing that if you've been listening to Baseless Speculation, the thing that I've been saying that I hope that Doomsday does, which is even though Thunderbolts is a team up movie, it focuses on Yelena.
Yeah.
And it's Yelena's story until you get to a certain point, then the rest of the team's there, and then it still mostly focuses on Yelena.
Yeah.
But it gives everyone a little bit of stuff to do. So you've got like an anchor point.
Yeah, absolutely. It does the thing that a great team up movie does, where everybody has conflicting personalities, so that when they like kind of bounce off each other, it's not smooth.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's not just 5 of the same guy.
Yeah, you go, oh yeah, these characters do have some, like, you know, it's some kind of interplay between each other. That's
like,
cool.
Yeah, they start off, just 100% just not liking at each other. They they kind of start off not hating each other, which I really like as well.
Yeah,
they're there for a
They're
mission.
aware of each other, and they're also just like, yeah, well, I'll kill you. I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, whatever. We've, either teamed up before. I know of you. I've spoken to you before, et cetera. But
Haven't
like,
even
if I have
teamed up before?
Red
Red Guardian and White Widow.
Yeah.
I guess Taskmaster and Yelena.
Yeah, that's true.
arguably. But in a sense of like, we
They
know
just
of
were
each other.
aware
I'm
of each
aware of
other
each
and
other.
then-
But at the same time, like, oh, I got my orders to kill you. Okay, I'm not going to question it. I'm going to get it done.
Yeah.
Which I really liked as well because they're like, well, there's no conflict there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know this person. All right, okay.
Yeah, okay.
So-
I'll kill them.
Yelena's so basically the setup for the film is Yelena she has job ennui.
Yeah.
She's really
She depressed.
yeah,
Depressed
she's really
AF.
struggling.
Bring it back to office, I guess, work. If you ever seen the movie Office Space, she's basically Ron Livingston
Yeah.
in Office
But
Space.
with murder
But
instead
for
of
murder.
spreadsheets.
And with a suicide attempt maybe instead of breaking a printer.
Yes.
Does Ron No, in Office Space he doesn't attempt to kill himself. His brain is just like, you know what, fuck this.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's like after
tries-
the hypnotism, because after the hypnotism, that's when he's like, whatever, bro, I don't give a shit.
Oh yeah, I
But
forget about
prior
I
to
always
the
forget about the hypnotism.
He's like, he's just stressed and like, I'm like, I hate this, whatever's going on. So great film. Anyway.
So Yelena's like, fuck my life.
Yeah. She's doing a bunch of jobs for Elaine from Veep.
Elaine, she calls up Elaine. She's like, she goes to meet up with her dad, Red Guardian,
Yeah.
being like, Dad, how the fuck do I find?
Yeah,
he's like, you
happiness,
happy?
basically.
And he's like, yeah,
but
I
he's
drive
not.
a limo.
He's sad, dude.
So happy.
And then she's like, I think
Yeah.
I'm going to quit my job. And he's like, I'd kill for that job.
Yeah.
And she's like,
I
"You
want
just-"
purpose. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm so shit.
I hate my life too.
Yeah. And then
at
she.
the same time, Elaine from Veep is getting possibly impeached because
Yeah.
she's the
doing-
head of the CIA, which I don't remember when that happened, but sure,
no,
type
I think
whatever I'm
because
across
we've never
it.
really had a proper.
Like explanation of what she does. It might have been
Maybe.
something that they
It's in
established in Black
Wakanda
Panther
forever,
too. I don't
maybe?
remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Elaine from Veep is like, I got to get rid of all of my illegal
Loose
shit.
ends, yeah.
So she sends all of them to basically one place to get incinerated, and she also sends all of her like black site operatives, which are the Thunderbolts, and they're there to kill each other.
Yeah.
And then they realize, oh wait.
Yelena is sent there to kill Ghost.
Yeah.
John Walker is sent there to kill Yelena.
Ghost is sent to kill
Taskmaster, and Taskmaster is sent to kill US agent.
Yeah. Which was great. What a fun twist. You know, we were like, oh, they're all sent. I mean, we had a lot of theories, but I think that's great because it did exactly what you're saying, Zam, where they were like, I don't care about you. You're like not part of my mission. I'm just here to kill. Like, Ghost kills Taskmaster. It's like, right, time to
Shoots
fuck
her
off.
in the head.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. But I did like, it's like Yelena's there to be, I'm going to try and kill Ghost. And then US agent's there to try and kill Yelena. And she's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
not here
away.
for you.
It doesn't, I'm gonna beef with you.
Taskmaster's line, the only line in the movie is, I'm not here. Oh, no, she says, like, I'm not here for you or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like,
And then that's it.
Like chill. I'm
Yeah.
not here for you kind of thing.
And then
Bang in the head.
Yeah.
they work
Oh yeah,
together.
they all get distracted, and then in that moment, Ghost just pulls out a gun and just shoots Taskmaster
right.
directly in the head.
Which is like, going in, we sort of all knew Taskmaster was going to die. I was like, oh, maybe it's a bit of a fake out and that it's actually like not. She's just going to either give up that mantle of being Taskmaster or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that.
No.
Kind of like, no.
She
Not
shot
at
full
all.
in the head.
Shot full in the head and then burnt.
Yeah.
To ashes.
Yeah, well, and also it's worth noting that her death isn't at all like the characters that do it don't even really acknowledge it until like a couple of scenes
The
later.
only acknowledgement really is when they're
Ghost, like-
looting her body for equipment, and Yelena's like, "Come on, man."
and then, no, and then later Ghost is like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you knew the person
Oh,
that I
that's
killed,
right, I forgot about
and
that
Yelena's
scene.
like, yeah, she had a complicated. She's like,
She
did a
lived
lot
a
of
hard
bad,
life
yeah,
and
she,
then died.
she lived a lot of hard life, did some bad, and died.
Yeah.
It's like all of us.
Basically what's covered for us.
Yeah.
I like that. In that scene, one of them hits like a button or whatever, and Bob, aka the Sentry, a boy who was in a box, he just appears and he's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And there's a great moment where he's like, is that lady dead?
Yeah.
And no one really acknowledges him.
Yeah.
It's good. And so then it's like, these bugger lugs and Bob and a dead Taskmaster in a room, and then it's like,
They've got 2 minutes
sweet.
until the incinerator turns on,
And then
they've got to
the
work
incinerator
together
turns on.
reluctantly.
Reluctantly, they do. They get out. But
And they only work together because every single time one of them tries to betray the team, they're like, fuck, I can't do this by myself.
I'm gonna need you guys.
Ghost is like, yeah, I'll phase through. You turn off the sound thing. I can't do that by myself. I'll phase through the wall and then I'll let you out. Then you find out that she goes through the wall and she's like, fuck, I can't get out of here by myself. I've got to let the rest out.
Which is a kind of fun, because it's like a classic trope in a movie where the countdown gets to the last couple of seconds. It's kind of fun that you can logically be like, yeah, because she was like trying to figure out a way to make it work without having to go back for them.
I love that because, you don't see it. And again, it's a good, you show, don't tell. It's really nice that that happens in a goddamn Marvel film.
Absolutely.
It's also good.
Just, you don't get the scene of her looking down the corridor being like, fuck. Back in.
Instead, he spends with the characters who, all of them are just like, well, I guess we're about to die.
I think it's the amount of times Yelena is like, well, here it comes. I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Accepts it with a Buddha-like
all of the characters do it. Every time they're about to die, they're just like, it was coming.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It had to happen at some point. Guess it's now.
I'm alive.
Even later in the movie where, Yelena does like a self-sacrificing thing that doesn't end up being a self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really know.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think you can
And then the other characters are like, well, look, she wouldn't have done that on purpose if she wasn't at least a bit sure that she would survive. And they're like, but we don't know that. They're like, well, what the fuck else are we going to do?
Yeah.
We might as well. And if we die, we die. Who gives a shit?
Fair enough. What's happening in that moment is the void is taken over and it's just like...
In Kingpin's New York.
Kingpin's New York, dude. He's going to be so pissed.
So pissed, yeah. He's basically doing, the Hiroshima, Shadow Man of New York. And it's kind of like, well, that's spreading. I guess we're fucked. I can't outrun a shadow monster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Anyway, basically, we'll jump back to where they are.
Yeah.
They work together. There is quips and it is a funny movie, but I think because the whole movie has a cloud of these characters are deeply unhappy.
Yeah, it's kind of the quips are kind of
they come from a mean place, and also because they're mean spirited and they come from a mean place, it also works in universe. It's like, these characters are just assholes.
I guess it's like it really feels like they're kind of using humor to. It's not like they're just funny, charismatic
Oh my god, is Void Man behind me?
He's called Void Sentry. What's his fucking name? It's just like they're also monstrously depressed. This is the only way they know how to interact with other human beings. But they make their way out of the facility, but in doing so, Elaine finds out that they have Bob, and then they put two and two together and they realize Bob is the only surviving member of the Sentry project, which was a project
the whole
to
thing
give
of why she's getting impeached or why she needs to I gotta clean shop. She's been experimenting on humans,
trying to make a superhero.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Fuck, take them alive, or at least take Bob alive because he's extremely valuable and I can do stuff with him."
And then they open fire on him with about 3,000 machine guns, and he bodies the bullets.
And then he flies into the sky. And
explodes
then he
and
falls to the ground.
And then they're like, oh no.
Oh fuck, he's very powerful. The Thunderbolts escape. They meet up with Red Guardian,
who had overheard Elaine from Veep's plans to incinerate them, so he drove us there as fast as he could in his piece of shit limo.
Then we have a kind of quite a fun chase scene in a limo against some ATVs or whatever.
I really like the Yelena and Red Guardian relationship, and I
thought it was nice.
Again,
it was much better than I expected.
It comes down to that, Dad, stop it! You're embarrassing me at work, and it worked. I thought it was a very funny kind of moment.
Yeah.
He's going to the sand dunes or whatever. He's honking the horn, and they're like, "Who's that?" And then she's like, "Oh shit, don't." And doing the shielding is "Don't worry about it. It's no one. Don't worry about it. Don't look at me."
But it's also so nice, I think, all of that because it's comedic at the time. But then in the context of the speech he gives her at the end, where he's like, "I've always seen the light in you."
Yeah.
It's like, well, that scene's that's what it is. He's like, "Look how awesome my daughter is. Look at what she's doing." It's not fake. It's just this genuinely how he feels.
And it's a very I don't know, it's a very sweet kind of thing of if you can kind of imagine this in a different sort of coming of age movie of your positive dad and the surly teen who's a bit
Dad, you're embarrassing me.
She's
very, very played very well, acted very well.
She's haunted by the fact, and it's kind of following in Natasha's footsteps of Yelena is battling I'm a bad person. But then you've got Alexei being
Nah.
No. There's always good in you. What you went through was bad and it made you do bad things, but you at your core, you've got light in you.
Absolutely. And I've always liked, it's one of the things I like about Black Widow too, the movie. Is the weird layers of that relationship too, where it's he's not really her dad.
No.
It was kind of a ploy by the Soviet military to trick America or whatever. But clearly, I don't know. It's just an interesting wrinkle in that relationship.
Speaking of Soviet missions and
Yeah.
stuff like that, it is really funny. And this happens in the limo as well. Like, Red Guardian's just so happy to be talking to US agent because he's like, we got the same stuff.
That was like little, again, you're talking about like, it's a funny movie, the quips in that, but they're not really quips. They're just kind of in universe at each other as opposed to at me, the audience.
Yeah.
And like, the whole, what strand did you get of like super soldier serum, which I'm like, that's very funny.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. It's a, hey, there are many different strands, like,
Yeah.
Well,
going
it keeps
around
being,
there.
it's like,
that's great.
It's also vaguely implied that like, not in this movie, but I'm fairly sure, and it might even be Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
It's like kind of implied that even the Black Widows have had like
Yes, and there is the implication there, yeah.
not the same, and it's not like they're not as strong as super soldiers, but Black Widows have like some kind of juice.
Some kind of juice.
Hulk has super soldier juice.
Yeah,
Sure does. I was going to say another thing. This movie is not shot like arsehole.
Yeah.
No,
There was some actual scenes.
There is some arsehole in it.
Hey. Not all.
Weirdly,
there was some
I
good
will say
cinematography, like that top-down shot of Yelena like beating up some guards
Yeah,
with
we
shadows
took a
and
lot of
everything.
shadows. That was very cool.
Again, very cool. And then it's kind of like, that juxtaposition of what Bob does later on. And you're like, oh, this is like, there's been some thought here.
Yeah.
This feels like a film that was then made like coherently.
Yes.
And then didn't have to do too many reshoots and didn't have to do too much rewriting. Unless that is the
Absolutely.
case.
I think
if that is the case, fuck, well done. But it does feel coherent.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some rewriting and recutting of this movie, because there are some things that I think kind of feel a bit weird pacing-wise. So it wouldn't shock me if there was something cut from this movie. And the thing I keep thinking about as well is I remember when we did a base speculation about it, we were like, Goliath is in this.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't. So I think,
that's true.
So I think there was some stuff cut from it, and I suspect I can figure out where. But even despite that, I think this movie, in a lot of places, is really good in spite of itself. Like, there's a couple of things that I think are, if you like stop and think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's extremely underdeveloped. But it kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, because there's no big third act punch on. Basically, Sentry gets fucked up, becomes the Void. They go into the Void. Break Bob out of the Void. The end.
They go in a metaphor.
Yeah, they go in a metaphor and they defeat depression by hug.
Yeah. It's kind of the most, it's another thing I like about it is it's so extremely earnest.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of thing that it kind of
because they're all just lonely pieces of shit.
Everyone is depressed and 2 beats away from killing themselves.
Absolutely.
It starts with Yelena jumping off the one of the tallest buildings in the world, and you're like, there's a moment where she probably's like, maybe I don't open the parachute.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful to watch.
Yelena, her sister's dead and she thinks she's a piece of shit. And also, again, like, doesn't really have a family. Red Guardian has no purpose. He's a limo driver, but he's sort of made peace with it.
And you're finding all like the deep darkest like problems. So like, Yelena feels responsible for like killing one of her best, like one of her friends
who was
who's
a
like
child, because that was her first test.
And it was just like, man, that's
John
a lot
Walker,
to hold
you find out that his wife left with his kid because he was so consumed by how he was bad Captain America that he just ignored his child.
Oh, yeah. He's got so much anger issues.
Ghost was raised in a lab and only just got given a body to house the ghost bit. She's like, I don't fucking know what's going on.
I don't know what I am.
Winter Soldier's 400.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of hates him or doesn't trust him. And he's like, I did some bad.
I'm not a good guy.
Well,
Also,
there's
When they go into the void, it's like they experiencing their trauma. So like, and then you only really see Yelena's. And so when they all kind of come together to like, find Yelena and Bob, it's just like, again, nice sort of quippy, jokey moments, but you don't have to see too much, whatever. It's just like with the soldier beard, like, I lived a very happy, good life, so I'm fine.
Yeah, that was actually easy for me.
I loved what I saw.
1,000-yard stare, just like, yep, I'm doing great. And it's just like, it's
Which is
repression
good.
and beautiful, and I love it.
But that's also the kind of thing where it's like, this is the 36th movie in the MCU. We know what Winter Soldier's been
we
through.
to see Winter Soldier have a bad time.
And also, like, also a big fan of, I think there was a point in this movie, and it was a Winter Soldier line where we actually laughed out loud, and it was like an earnest laugh, where Red Guardian's like, right, what's the plan? And then Bucky's like, the plan. And then it's just a hard cut to them just driving their truck straight into the front of a building. That's funny.
That's great.
That's good editing.
Ram, what's that? What's that?
Ram
called?
raid. They did a ram raid.
They ram raided. It was wonderful.
And then I keep forgetting her actual name. Valentina
something.
De Fontaine.
De Fontaine, yeah.
Yeah. She's
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine?
Yeah. She's like, I left the front door open for you. We're rebuilding this. Please stop wrecking my shit.
Yeah,
Come up the elevator.
So there's the chase scene that's in the trailers of like Bucky trying to get the tank people who are chasing the limo, and then Bucky does that. Everyone in the limo is like,
yes,
finally, Bucky, we love that guy. Bucky then shoots the limo,
car, explodes it.
And they're like,
oh, okay. Which was great because it was also
John Walker's just like, shit.
Because like Bucky's whole thing is like he's a senator now, he's Senator Barnes, even though he killed the president. Don't worry about it.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He was controlled by the KGB.
Yeah.
It's fine. And so he's a senator.
We've got a president right now that's controlled by Russia.
Good point, actually.
True.
Good point. Hey,
That's funny.
it is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing bad is
Nothing bad is happening. Don't worry about
And
it. Don't
our
ask
prime
questions.
minister is often controlled by another country.
Yes, dude.
Depending on which one.
Yeah. We were filming this, recording this before the election, so
Yeah, who knows?
who knows what happened.
Look, base prediction.
Yeah.
My rent's gone up $200 in the last 2 years. And let me tell you, being a full-time podcaster, $200 every month, you feel it. You feel it.
Oh,
So
brother.
whoever becomes the prime minister, please, for the love of God, make it easier to rent the fucking house.
Yeah. More, and also like interest rates. If they could just, I'm on a variable interest rate mortgage thing. Is sometimes, it would have been good. Would have been good years ago.
Yeah.
Not so great now.
My rent has gone up over 20% in 2 years.
That's crazy.
My pay hasn't, and it's not his fault.
I've had to fire people.
Yeah, whoever your favorites were, they're gone now.
I like that.
Advertising is down 30% this year.
Yeah.
Which is actually down, well, it's 30% last year as well. And then that was also down 40% prior. We asked if it was our fault.
Yeah. It could have
surprisingly, no.
Hey, sign up to Baseless Speculation Plus, please.
And while you're at it, Thumb Cramps Plus. The bonus show for Thumb Cramps. Like, you don't care about video games, that's fine. But the bonus show for Thumb Cramps Plus, it's monthly and it's about TV shows. You love TV shows.
And while you're at it, just Bad Brain Boys Plus.
Bad Brain Boys, if you're a Plumb Me to Death Stuff fan, and Imagination Adventures if you like D&D.
But
SANSPANTS
also,
Classic. Plus, I mean, hey, it's pretty good. You get a second classic with these two.
Yeah, exactly. It's a funny show.
And all our terrible shows that we've cancelled. But it's there.
It's there. You can listen to it.
But also, if times are hard for us, I'm sure they're also hard for you. So, if you're like, oh no, I feel bad about this, don't. If you can't afford it, that's fine.
Here's what you can, and if you do still feel bad, shut up. If you do still feel bad, what you can do is you can just pay for 1 month and cancel it, and then download everything.
Download everything.
That dude, Rob is blind.
Right, yeah, it's fine. The whole point is consistently, you want people it's like, hey, it's a monthly show, here it is.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, that's fine. If I just get this now, one-off payment, 1 month, you just download it all.
Yeah.
You got months, years,
You got years of content, dude.
And we get $2.99 USD, which I keep hearing we should probably move away from the US dollar.
Yeah.
And then my website guy is like, yeah, we should organize a conversation, a call. And I'm like, yeah, we should. And he's like, well, I work 9 to 5, so after hours. And I'm like, I turn into a pumpkin after 5. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
It's been like that for, I want to say, 5 months.
Yeah, that's
5
good.
months. Wonder what coincides there.
Yeah. Who can say, dude?
Your baby's 5 months old. That's crazy.
Funny coincidence.
What a crazy
What
coincidence.
crazy.
I can see him through the window right now, and he's upset that someo's vacuuming.
Yeah.
He's not crying. He's just like, what's going on?
Adam had him a second ago. I don't know what that was about. What's he doing with your baby?
Spending some time with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Just hanging out. Raising him wrong.
Raising him wrong for a little bit.
That's nice.
Anyway, so then they crash into Avengers Tower, and Elaine from Veep or De Fontaine.
Because her assistant has grown like a spine.
Mal. Yeah, because basically while all of the Thunderbolt stuff's happening, Bucky's trying to help get
He's
Elaine.
a senator, and now he's doing politician bullshit, and he's like, I feel so hamstrung.
He's like,
whatever.
he's like, I feel powerless because I want to do it the legit way, but the legit way doesn't get results.
Exactly.
And you got to read the packet.
He's got to read, he's like, the other senator's like, got to read the packet. There's no real world equivalent that might have happened like the same week that they Thunderbolts got released, where it's like maybe say a president's approval rating is like, I don't know, sub 40, but that's all right because like maybe someone who's maybe in a position of power is like in the opposition is like, hey, well when that happens, that's when we can act.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, what have you done? And he's like, don't worry about it. We have written a letter with 8 very strong questions that he needs to answer.
Dude. He's done.
Like,
that's
powerful. That's how you get him. That's how you get him. So Bucky clearly
Trump's approval rating after 100 days is the lowest it's president's had in 7 decades.
That's not what he said though.
Huh?
Since
Eisenhower. Was Eisenhower a cunt? Probably. Most presidents are.
I think Eisenhower was. I think he was a weird guy.
But no. And so like so Chuck Schumer was like, oh yeah, once he gets like real bad like ratings or whatever, like approval, that's when we can act. And have a if you want to like look at on your little machine. What has he done? He sent a letter. Wow.
Yeah.
Doing great, cunt.
It's good stuff,
wow.
dude. That'll fix it.
We are at the point, though, that if the Labour, so Liberal Party in Australia is the right, Labour's the left. If the Labour Party, which are our current government, win again, they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, of course.
But that is so much better than the chaos that the right will do.
To be honest, I understand that this day and age, we kind of have the right and center right.
Yeah.
I get that. But center right is still better than right.
Yeah.
Well, because center right aren't going to do shit because they want to keep everyone happy.
Yeah. And this is now, of course, this is after the Australian election. That means nothing. But we have preferential voting, which is something that I didn't realize, growing up, that other countries don't have. I think it's like, look, democracy is, the way democratic elections aren't the best way to do anything. But again, it's kind of like, well, it's the best of what we've got. You know what I mean? Like, there's no perfect system, but it's one of the better ones that we have. And I think preferential voting is just so much better than the first past the post because it means that you can then I know, for example, I know that maybe say Purple Pingers, who is like the Victorian Socialist Party. And I think
Jordan something.
Yeah.
Jordan Dolan?
Going, I think it's in in sort of like the Brunswick Coburg area.
Yeah.
Like he's
Jordan Van der Lam.
Van der Lam, you were close.
So he's like, I know that he's probably not going to get a seat.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I know that if I put them one, I understand that even if the next people they do win, they will okay, cool, we won through preferential. But we do know that there is a certain level of the constituent that agree or line up with these people's policies. So even though I know that hey, I understand that these people aren't going to win, I'm still going to use my vote to go right. In the perfect world, first, then second them, and of course, third, fourth, fifth, whoever. And so you're never really throwing your vote unless you say fuck you on the form and hand that in, which again, you can do. That is your right to do that.
Yeah.
Because again, we in Australia also have compulsory voting. But it's not compulsory voting. It's compulsory turning up.
Yeah.
Which is something that is
compulsory attendance.
Yeah, you don't have to actually vote.
And
you just get your name crossed.
And you get a fine if you don't. And the thing is, the fine is quite nominal. And I think
like $50, I think.
Yeah, and it should be a bit more ceremonial in the sense of it
was $50 the one time I fucked it up.
Yeah, no, but I think that
when I was 19
was that for a federal election there?
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure state elections, because all of our elections have a fine, but I'm pretty sure state is lower.
No, I think it was federal.
No, okay.
So again, we have.
I don't know. It might have changed.
We have a fine
when you were 19. Tony Abbott became prime minister that year by one vote.
It's my bad.
Yeah, so again, we have this preferential thing, and we also have attendance. You have to turn up. And it's you're forced to vote. Well, no, you're forced to turn up. You can throw away your vote if you want, and that's your right. And I think if you want to do that, you should and you can, and that's wonderful as well. But we have preferential voting, which I think is a really good way to be I disagree or I agree with certain policies. Yeah. But at the same time, we understand that, hey, the current status quo is still going to be better.
Yeah, you're not going to. Yeah, exactly.
What Dutton wants, who basically was have you seen that recently? Which was people who renters, of course, they're going to vote for Labour because they are basically uneducated scum. They are immature voters.
Awesome.
And you're just wow, this is a let them eat cake moment. And I hope people pay attention. Because that's also what it's annoying as well. And I think in other countries I have this, which is the uninformed or the electorate, which is what you don't really want. Well, certain, I guess, parties do.
So yeah, it's
But
actually
again,
very beneficial.
It's that kind of thing where, you know, it's a, hey, check out policy first. Check out, there's so many resources at your
not
fucking
hard
disposal
to find out
that you can
Well,
look
it
at.
is for sure. I was looking last night. I always love looking at the independents and being like, there's nothing about this guy. There's nothing anywhere.
Yeah,
Like, what is he
that's
doing?
fucked
What,
up.
why would I pick him?
But generally, it shouldn't be too hard
Yeah.
to either go on where your political compass, and they just ask you the questions about where you stand with certain things that aren't necessarily attached to
Honestly,
like propaganda, shall we say.
I mean, look, and I know that this probably isn't the best way to vote.
Yeah.
But if you just look at a picture of Peter Dutton, why the fuck would you want him anywhere near anything?
Yeah,
I wouldn't trust him within 50 feet of a school.
Have you seen all of those posts where it's Peter Dutton and then he's comparing himself to, I guess maybe Albanese? I don't know. But he's used AI to make Albanese look like a Muppet. But it's so funny because Peter Dutton looks like a horrible ghoul.
Yeah.
And Muppets are friendly and nice.
I loved when it was a few years ago when there was some people being like, oh, he looks like a ghoul man.
Yeah.
And the nicest thing, because his wife came out, was like, we got to there's a PR campaign maybe, a PR little thing, got to nip that in the bud. So his wife was like, the nicest thing that I guess she could muster, that she could come up with was like, he's not a monster.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that newspaper front page with not a monster.
Not a
at
monster.
The top.
Hey, my
Fuck,
husband,
dude.
he's not a monster. Do you want to say anything else about him?
No.
No, because I believe that if you can't say anything nice, you shouldn't say anything at all. Luckily, me, Joel Dusha, do not oblige by that. But also, okay, so when you're looking at anyone running for any kind of political party, if you look at their own thing, they're going to make them look good.
Yeah.
That's Peter Dutton on the fucking
Jesus,
New
dude.
South Wales Liberal website.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Look at that!
Oh, it's bad.
How did a cop, Queensland cop, afford so many houses?
Good question.
Just I'm curious. I'm just curious.
Well, no,
What's
that's
under
okay.
his salary.
No.
And the Queensland
Because
cop.
you just need to look at. So in 1987, there was a big investigation on the new on the Queensland Police. And actually, I believe it was also the Liberal Party, I believe, because they were running rackets.
Huh? Who was in Queensland?
But their family first.
They're
They just
family
Who was
friendly.
it in
heaps of
Queensland?
sex
Is that I forget who.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
As long as it's ethical.
Of
Yes.
course.
Who was it that was just was it the federal police burst into their office, and it might have been a premier of, say, a Queensland state, and they were like, he's over a bin burning files. I genuinely do forget the name, exactly the minutiae of that, but if anyone knows exactly, you feel free to remind me, or if you yourself at home are like, oh, I know this.
When I was looking up again independence, because it's just a name, so it's always interesting to find out what they're going on. One, his Wikipedia page has just so many. I think it was someone Lance Van, maybe. So many sexual assault allegations where one of them was to Jackie Lambie. He barked and growled like a dog when she stood up.
Oh, cool.
Grabbed someone else's buttocks and then used money, taxpayers' money to buy a house or do something.
Cool. And they, of course, didn't get any
No.
because they're now running as independent.
Of course. I'm pretty sure, in fact, they were like, we did an investigation and he's all good.
Oh. Who did the investigation, sorry? Themselves?
It's some independent party.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah, but probably not an
actual independent.
No,
organization.
Exactly. An unbiased independent party, I would
Fucking
imagine.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
Fucking crazy shit.
Yeah, look, if someone...
Yeah.
At this point, if someone's whole standing was, I'm going to kill the prime minister, vote for me, they would get my vote.
Dude, me too.
Man, wow.
That's
number
we need
one.
change. Yeah.
Anyway, this episode hopefully has changed your hearts and minds because obviously all baseless speculation listeners were already they were swinging right, but that speech is
We brought it back, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
We've brought it back from the brink.
We're in an echo chamber, right?
No, I
Right?
don't think so. Not me.
No?
I intentionally have broken my echo chamber, but then I don't do anything about it.
Yeah,
so I get a lot of right-wing stuff as well. I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
These guys are
awesome.
insane.
Oh, yeah, no, it's always lovely to be like, oh, yeah, I'm in an echo chamber. Let's check out what, say, our conservative is doing. And you're like, oh, should not have done this.
I watch
Yeah,
a lot
bro.
of not a lot.
I stayed on Twitter. I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
I'm still there, dude. It's
My
me, the ads, and the racists. That's who's on Twitter. I
least
get
you're getting
gambling ads.
But at least you're getting pussy in bio, right?
Yeah, I am. And porn. And porn. And that's pretty
Pornography.
sick.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
is good.
That is nice.
So I yeah, like I mean, like my YouTube algorithm, I get like a lot of the people that became very famous when they released videos being like the Last Jedi suck shit, like the conservative nerd media. Let me tell you, what they're saying, and people be like, "Whoa, red hot," and then what I know we say, and they're like, "Sorry to speak out against Hollywood." It's like, you're cowards compared to us. You're a spineless piece of shit.
Win.
That's so funny.
Nerdrotic, eat my asshole. You're a fucking idiot.
What that dumb cunt say?
Just like he'd just be like, "Whoa, I can't." I'm like, I'll drop the ass slur, but I can't say anything too bad because like mainstream media.
Brother, the amount
I just
of times
said we should kill the prime minister.
No, we said if there was a party that wanted to do that, we'd vote for them.
That's
Difference.
true. Sorry, I won't.
We would never. We would never.
It's just if that was someone standing, I would just to see what happens.
Nerdrotic's not going to accuse Jim from The Office of starting a coup.
No.
Okay. I'll say that much.
Oh no, Doctor Who's woke and you're upset and you're making a YouTube video. The world's on fire, fuckwit.
Hey, some of the the dumb cunts were like, "Wow, it's been revealed that we inadvertently, because you're a fucking dumb cunt.
Yeah.
You inadvertently got a lot of money from like Russian propaganda. It's now been proven that we're on the payroll for Russian propaganda. And yet you're like, no, I'm still good and clever.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah,
Dumb cunts.
the dumbest, most insane cunts in the realm, man. Yeah, dude.
But I guess you got to be a certain level of dumb cunt to be that like removed, to be like, I guess I'm fine still though.
Yeah.
Even though the main source of my income and like my career and everything that I've had because of like basically I'm sprouting lies.
Yeah.
Well, I still deserve that.
I still deserve it, and I'm still a good person.
I'm still gonna do all this stuff anyway, because it's just like, well, like, I was doing that anyway. That's just like the cherry on top. I'm not a dumb cunt.
Yeah.
I can't be a dumb cunt.
No.
Don't take my hat off in public. I get real mad.
Oh, fuck,
because
that's so funny when that happens.
People will know.
Yeah. It is crazy. What's that? It's like, I forget, it's somebody online said it, but I think about it all the time, where it was like in a response to somebody being like, they were like transphobic or like racist or something like that. And they were like, I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people. Like if you at a base level don't have that, I don't know how to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
If there's no part of you that's like, it's important to care about others' feelings, then you are like alien to me. You're removed from me as another human being.
Like, if you don't have just base level empathy, I don't know what we're doing.
I don't know what, I can't have a conversation with you.
Yeah, and so it's like, you don't have base level empathy, so I'm going to call you a dumb cunt. And then you're like, what about the top? What? I thought you were the
classic.
I thought you were the tolerant left. And I'm like, yeah, but you have no level of empathy.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to have to empathize with the unempathetic.
I'm a
you're
big
a dumb
fan
cunt, anyway.
of being intolerantly left.
With the intolerant left, dude. With the belligerent
Wonderful.
left.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're shining a light on the belligerent left.
Okay, for God's
For
sake.
Christ's sake.
Oh, I'm proud of my president because he's a migrant.
Shut the fuck up.
You're the dumbest person in the world. Also, Nerderotic is apparently 53 years old and he's posting 2 days ago a Swag Sunday giveaway. What the fuck?
Grow up.
I don't know how. Man.
Oh, you're so brave because you hate trans people, but you're posting Swag Sunday. I don't have an egg that needs cracking.
Yeah.
I would transition before I posted that. And I'd be,
Fuck, dude. I don't know what happened. I mean, I guess losers started making content for losers. And then the losers started to think they were important.
People don't get beat up on the bus enough. That's what's happening.
Yeah, dude. The wolves at fucking Yellowstone.
Exactly.
You're saying this all my goddamn life,
We've been
dude.
saying this for so fucking many years.
You can't let the deer overrun the fucking
That's
grass.
why we need the wolves.
The wolves are important, dude.
You know how much the wolves fixed that goddamn Yellowstone?
Exactly, dude.
Things that they didn't even think were good. It changed rivers. Because we introduced wolves
at fucking Yellowstone, man.
It needs to be revealed that Henry Cavill has a micro penis, and that will fix everything.
That will fix everything, dude.
If Henry Cavill has a micro penis, the world's fixed.
We're good. We're back. That's the pivot. That's the turning point for humanity.
I don't know if that would do shit, dude.
It would.
It would fix everything.
Restore the Snyderverse fandom would be in shambles.
No.
You can't have a tiny dick
You
Superman.
can't have a tiny dick Superman. Superman's got to be hanging dong.
No. He like me.
Oh.
No.
True representation.
Yeah. I'd be like, that's you.
But it's also got small nuts.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
dude. And tiny nipples.
Yeah.
tiny
Anyway,
nipples.
then the Thunderbolts, they fight
yeah.
Sentry.
Yeah,
and-
Sentry beats the shit out of them.
Yeah, Valentina's like, classic. Once again, it's like, oh, hey, Trauma the movie. And then we got like a little bit of, gaslighting, manipulation
Yeah.
from Valentina to be like, hey, Bob, you're my guy. You're going to be the Sentry. We're going to dye your hair blonde, all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. But hey, don't worry, we're going to kill Switch.
Yeah. They fight him, then he beats the shit out of them, they run away.
And then Elaine from Veep's like, I'm not scared of you. Because
Yeah.
Sentry's like, I'm a god. Why should I listen to you?
listen to you? She's like, oh, fuck. He chokes her out.
But then she's
her
like-
assistant presses the kill
Yeah.
switch.
Kills Bob, but oh no.
Bob's now void. The Thunderbolts have a conversation on the streets where they're like, fuck, we suck. Hey.
Yeah. But then we get a cool scene that we haven't seen in a Marvel movie in a million years,
Yeah.
which is the Thunderbolts helping protect people
Yeah.
from, like, there's a big disaster happening, and they're like, let's just save this family from this rock.
And it's
Exactly. And it's
sick.
one,
It's
the
so
whole,
cool.
with the speech before with Red Guardian being like, oh, I was the most happiest I was when I was like the state-sponsored superhero,
Yeah.
and like the citizens would cheer me and clap me. And then they get that moment of the citizens cheering them and clapping them because they acted like heroes. They saved
Yeah,
people.
it's very cool.
And then we get an incredibly beautiful moment where Red Guardian saves, is it Red Guardian or Bucky?
No, it's Red
Red
Guardian.
Red Guardian saves a little girl.
He cops like a huge rock to the back,
saves the
Yeah.
girl.
and he looks
Now-
down at the little girl.
Now, prior to the movie starting, as we were watching
Yeah.
sort of the trailers for like, I think it was like Fantastic Four and like
Yeah.
the Chair trailer, I sort of like go over to Nick and JD and yourself, Jack, and
Yeah.
I'm like, is there anything Marvel right now could do that you would actually genuinely be surprised at?
yeah.
And we were like full on pen.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
then
fair
it was-
enough, that would be shocking and
Yeah, yeah.
surprising.
And then we were just like, I was like, even if it was just one boob, that
Yeah,
would
yeah,
shock
that
me.
would
And
be
then I was
crazy.
like, also if they just kill a kid.
yeah, if they just kill a kid.
And we're like, yeah, that would be
that
kind of
would be
surprising.
surprising. I'd be genuinely
Yeah.
surprised. Cut back. Red Guardian saves a kid.
Yeah.
He's looking at
a
her.
little girl too.
Yeah.
Cute as a button. And then they're like, yeah, we've saved the little girl.
Yeah.
And
Then
then,
Void just goes, boom, boom,
And
she
now
gets turned
just
into a shadow.
which is like a really cool power set that
Yeah, it looks sick.
the Void had
Yeah.
kind of stuff. In
And
terms
also
of like,
in the trailer, it makes it look like that maybe the Void is just like there's just like a shadow over his face to like hide who he is. But no, he turns into a shadow
He's got
man
little
when he's Void.
pinprick eyes.
it's kind of like a Dark Link.
Yeah.
It was really cool design. It was a very simple design, but it was a really cool, very effective way of doing it.
Yeah.
And again, I like that it was like not at all like messy or violent.
No,
it was
no,
just
no. It was very just like
boom,
you exist, you don't exist.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, cool. And then
the Void
yeah.
takes over Kingpin's New York. And
Yeah.
the whole thing
Kingpin
becomes
is like, what is going on?
Yelena's yelling at Bob, being like, because Yelena and Bob, Yelena is the only one that's like properly like bonded with Bob, and
Yeah.
she kind of senses because she kind of clocked the living through her trauma when she touched him. She's like, oh, we're both so alone.
Yeah.
So she's just like, you're better than this, and then he voids her.
Yeah.
Well, she kind of like willingly.
She kind of
steps
goes into the void. And then they all go into the void. The void in
makes
the void
people live
is,
through their traumas.
yeah, it's like a trauma maze where
Yeah.
you wander through your trauma and stuff.
Yeah.
They break out and then they go through Bob's trauma, all of the Thunderbolts,
Yeah.
they all jump into the void.
I like that his trauma was also he was a meth chicken at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Which
He
is
was-
also funny to be like, yeah, the villain of this had a meth addiction.
Yeah,
for a
it's
bit.
crazy.
It's great to just
It's-
be like,
it is kinda
yeah,
weird
like him
hearing them
yelling,
be-
I was on meth,
Yeah.
as the chicken is attacking everyone.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, for Australia, oh, wow, cool, PG. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like the
weird.
classifications board means absolutely nothing, which is fair. It never really has.
Then they go into when he got the injection, where the void is. Bob and the void have like a punch on while everybody else is like tied up. And it's like he's beating the shit out of his trauma. While I was watching that, I was like, it's awesome if the message of this movie is punch your trauma.
Yeah. And it's
but-
just like a nice kind of like, oh, hey, again, it is. Like, it's on the nose. Like,
Yeah,
it
but
is.
honestly,
it
dude,
hit you over the head
for
with, like,
fucking
with
Marvel
themes.
movie, it had such a lack of like cynicism that I was like, oh, that's lovely. Very refreshing.
Exactly. That's what I was.
That's so nice.
That's what I was. Yeah. It's earnest.
Yeah.
And there is no cynicism, and it is just like, it is beating us over the head with themes, but you're like,
and like it's kind of cliched and whatever. It's the power of friendship is what saves the day.
Yeah.
But that's
human contact.
I don't know, man. After watching so many movies, like what the fuck? What is the message of Captain America: New World Order?
Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
What's the theme of that movie?
Turn yourself
Love
in.
your daughter.
Turn yourself in if you've done some treasonous crimes.
Yeah.
Turn yourself in if if the president has done crimes.
Yeah.
Which I know is an absurd
That would be
idea.
crazy, dude.
He would never.
I'm not a crook.
If the president has done crimes, even though the Supreme Court has said that actually a president can't, even if you have,
the president should go to the raw.
Sorry and go to jail.
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
You impeach yourself.
What if
sorry.
what if the president was sorry?
I'm
That's
sorry.
the message of the
Yeah.
movie. Anyway,
and also in this, we haven't said it yet, but DeFontaine is kind of bad, or like the Hillary Clinton that Trump keeps saying Hillary is, which, I mean, belligerent left again. Hillary Clinton is a piece of shit.
Yeah. Big time, dude.
But I'm with her, and I would have voted for her a third time.
Yeah. Once again, sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you go for the lesser evil, dude.
Yeah, she was friends with Epstein.
Yeah, of course.
But then
So was Trump.
In fact, Trump was better friends.
And like when I'm looking at someone who is friends with Epstein and someone that's friends with Epstein and has, been part of a rape trial.
I know who I'm gonna pick.
Yeah. What's that? You're not a rapist.
Yeah.
Oh,
great.
This shouldn't be a hard choice. But what's the rapist stance?
Yeah,
on
exactly.
economics,
I don't know.
though?
Lock her up and drain the
The emails.
Yeah, dude.
But
Benghazi.
but his signal phone.
Yeah. Who can say, dude?
I hope Trump adds me to that signal chat.
Yeah, dude.
Get me in
Get
there.
Dusher in there. You and Roger Federer.
Yeah. Talk about the belligerent left.
I'm like, hey fellas, what's going on?
Yeah.
I just sent a
happy to
selfie of me taking a shit.
You're not leaving immediately like a journalist. You're like, whatever, I'll go to jail for treason or whatever. For spying.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
No, that was why I remember reading a thing. It's like if he'd stuck around.
Oh, no. It's like, I don't know if they could get me because I'm not an American citizen. But
They'd
that would,
They'd get you. That's even more spying.
Yeah.
But yes, so in the end, they basically hug the void out of Bob, and then
which is a really cool thing because it was very much like the whole void was like you don't like these people aren't with you. They're going to turn you like everyone else has.
Yeah,
like I like his whole idea of Bob being. Even when I try, I just make it worse.
Yeah.
And you see that like one or two times initially when they're trying to break out of the complex or whatever, and then you see why he says it. And then you see where he's coming from, and it's just like, oh fuck that hits.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's hitting some points. Well done.
Absolutely.
And then it's this whole thing of like, you're alone. And it's just like you're alone. You're a loser. You're always going to be a loser. Fuck you. And like. Basically, give into your rage, give into your depression, give into your violence. Just be like your dad.
Yeah.
Beat me up, you piece of shit, just like your dad would. Solve your problems with violence. And so then he does. And then it's like, Yelena, and then the rest of the gang come all in. And it's just like, You're
like, oh, that's
it's
nice.
Like, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You are loved. You're not alone.
Absolutely.
We can get through this together. And it's, again, very cliche, of course. Very
but
obvious,
honestly,
but you're like...
Comparatively,
it's really nice. It's kind of beautiful.
That's lovely. It's nice to have a bit of earnestness in a Marvel movie. And then they're out. New York's good again. He's back to just being Bob.
And he can't become Sentry because if he becomes Sentry, he also becomes the other guy.
And he's kind of lost his memory a bit too.
Every time he becomes the Void, he loses memory, which is kind of a cool way of showing that.
Well,
And then they're like, there's a lane from Veep. We're going to go
Let's
kill
go
her.
beat the shit out of her. And then she kind of...
Red Guard is like, I'm going to kill her. And
like, no,
you got to arrest her. Then you're like, oh, well, maybe we're going to hit her a bit.
And then she's like, I'm so sorry. Just I just need to quickly do something. And then she steps through a curtain.
Yeah.
And then they all chase her. And then as they step through the curtain, she's like, Anyway.
It's like a huge press conference.
And
that
she's just
called.
like, obviously, the city needs protecting, and Sam Wilson's not up to the job. So introducing the new Avengers.
That's what the Asterisk was about.
Which is exactly what we fucking, we were hoping for this.
And then they're all just standing there looking like fucking idiots with their thumb up their arse. They're like, fuck, I guess we're the Avengers.
I guess we're the new fucking Avengers
I guess
now.
we're the Avengers, and then Yelena leans into Vince.
She's like, we own you now.
Oh, what a wonderful, just like, we fucking own
It's
you.
good.
And that's the last line of the movie, I think.
Yeah. And then there's a post-credit scene where Red Guardian's like, I'm on the Wheaties box now.
Which is funny because that's a reference to a scene in the trailer that's not in the movie.
Yeah, he says on the Wheaties box. He says
does
it
he?
in the limo.
Yeah,
it's like it's not as
does
prominent.
Say, he
but
does say it in the film about like, you know, we could be like, you know, the
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you know,
no, yeah, you're
whatever,
right. Yeah,
be
yeah.
on the Wheaties. And I think it's like, is that part of like Black Widow as well? Like how he's kind of very much like, I want to be a hero and be like on the, like Captain America was like, you know, on the pack of
He might
Actually,
say-
yeah, it
he
might
might
be
say
a Black Widow thing because it's very understated in this.
yeah.
But yeah, post-credit scene where he's like standing in the supermarket looking himself on a Wheaties box and then someone comes in looking for cereal.
And he's like,
hey,
"You want
look.
to buy Wheaties?"
And they're just like,
I guess I don't know, man.
then he hands the mother the Wheaties and then she's like, thank you. And then she walks down the aisle and just puts it back down. And he's like, damn.
Yeah, he's like, that's me. And then there's a final post-credit scene.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, where they're in the Avengers Tower and they're kind of still bickering.
It's
and they
14
find out
months later.
that Sam Wilson has also basically started an Avengers.
And he's trying to sue them.
Yeah, they're in legal trouble because of it. And then they get there's a like
Bob's there too.
Bob's there too, and then they get notification on the Avengers computer. The Fantastic Four are here, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're like, we've got no space protection because none of us are good at space.
Yeah.
And then they're like, should we just, like, Bob's like, why can't you fly anymore? He's like, I told you, I can't become that guy because I become the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, what are we going to do? Ride Bob?
into space.
And then
Red
the
Guardian
Fantastic
was like
Four
very
He was pro. He wanted to ride Bob into space. I do think there were a couple of things in the movie that I think were like I liked it.
Yeah.
4 out of 5, which is pretty fucking good for a Marvel movie. A couple of things that I think were maybe underbaked.
Yeah.
I think it was never really clear why Elaine wanted Sentry. I don't really care, but they just never.
I wonder if that's just like a bad through line.
I think so. I think so. It felt like they
like,
just,
as in, like, that's meant to be.
yeah.
Like, her wanting Sentry should make sense if we've seen all of her appearances. And I wonder if us
Maybe.
not remembering Black Panther properly is.
Potentially.
Yeah, but
I'm trying because
that's the
her
only-
appearances in like in the television are
Yeah.
like I'm putting together a team, and so
Yeah.
she gets. But clearly she wasn't. She was just putting together Black Ops.
I
that
just
is still
need
a
to know
team.
what the benefit for her. It's the only thing that I think is kind of missing from the movie.
Yeah, I think.
Why
Structurally, it's like
why
why?
she do that?
If she was like, I need, because at one point she says,
If she
I get
was-
to decide how America is protected.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that benefits her because that seems like a good, not good
wonder-
thing, but like, yeah.
I wonder if it would have, like, you wouldn't even be thinking that if instead of Sharon Carter being power broker, it was Elaine.
Yeah, I probably would.
If it was just turns out, because then it's just like, oh, you want to, like, quietly run the country.
Yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
forgotten about Sharon Carter being power broker
Yeah.
yet again, even though I think this is not the first time you've mentioned that this week. To
There's
me.
because
Yeah.
DeFontaine.
Yeah.
If
Right.
all she said was like the person who, you know, they say that the president rules the world or whatever, but the Avengers really rule the world. And if I own the Avengers, then
If
great,
I, you know,
sure.
if I'm the if I'm the power behind the power, I own, you know, the
then
world.
I run America or whatever. That I would have been. It just needed like one line. And again, I don't really care. In a weird way, I don't think it was like, because sort of whatever. The movie's not really about the structural plot so much. It's more of a character thing. So that's fine. But that was something that I
So
thought
she's
was
the
missing.
director of the CIA, which is the role she's being impeached from. She.
I guess, you know, she has, you know, America's best interest at heart in quotation marks. And to be like, you know, without the event, because this is, again, like, say what you will about, I guess, the DCEU. Absolutely dog shit. But I do love that, you know, when the first, like, hey, it's Dave Harbour again, in like the first Suicide Squad or whatever, where it was just kind of like, even Batman in BVS, you know, if there is a 1% chance Superman goes crazy, we're going to take that as an absolute, you know, certainty. Which is kind of, I like that as an idea of like, look, he is good now, but what the fuck
We don't know.
happens
We don't
if
know. He's so powerful.
If he goes crazy. And so, like, you know, from like, you know, that perspective of like, Batman wanting to like kill Superman, look, a bit excessive, but funny. And then when they put together the Suicide Squad with like initially it was like, what happens? What happens if Superman goes crazy and wants to snap the neck of the president? First off, he'd get our vote. Secondly,
I guess like
that's like that whole concept of like, then you want to make a Sentry.
Yeah.
But you don't have that in Marvel.
They just don't have
I mean, I guess like with the info that she is the head of the CIA, I just quickly had a look. And like she's, because Wakanda Forever is like tensions between the US and Wakanda, and she's team fuck Wakanda.
Oh, yeah, because she's like, she
sets Ross up.
Yeah, because it's like, it's Wakanda, Atlantis, and like, I guess Asgard, where like there are countries and I guess other like realms that are so much more technically advanced than us. And America, number one, so we can't have that.
I guess she just wants to swing dick with Sentry, which is a line in the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Yelena just out of nowhere is like, "You finished swinging your tiny dicks. Did that feel good?" That's awesome. I want to hang out with Yelena. She'd break my neck
Florence
for no
Pugh
reason.
is just so charismatic.
And that actually reminds me, like watching the start of this reminded me that she dated Zach Braff, and people hated that pairing so much that she had to go on the internet and be like, "Please stop bullying my partner," even though because people were like, "Hey, he's like pushing 50 or is 50 and you're in your 20s. Don't you think that's fucked up?" She's like, "No, I love him." Anyway, they broke up very shortly after.
That's so funny. Yeah, dude, watching this, I was like, Florence Pugh could be the new guy, dude. I would happily put her. She has just as much charisma as Robert Downey Jr. I said charisma weird.
You did.
I mean, like,
but you owned it, and I like
Thanks,
that.
man.
I think Wyatt Russell's also really good. I think that this is just a good combo of guys.
Absolutely.
I loved US Agent of just being
me too.
He
was my standout character.
Such a piece of shit.
Asshole
and I love
Captain America.
Well, I would say that this isn't my original thought, but the show also on SANSPANTS Radio, Hey Fam, hosted by Levins and Angus Truscott. I was speaking to Angus after the screening through Instagram because he went to the premiere in Sydney. So I didn't break an NDA, Disney. We were talking about it with people that had already seen it.
Nice.
And he was like, yeah, US Agent sort of got like the Thor treatment where they made him sort of like comic reliefy, but he's kind of using comedy to work through his trauma of being like a loathed asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
like that.
I think another thing that I think I would have liked, and this is just, it doesn't matter that it's not in the movie, but I think maybe it's a bit of a missed opportunity because I think the scene would have been fun, is I would have loved a scene where they were in a different version of them getting up to the Sentry fight.
Yeah.
But they have to fight a bunch of goons up the tower or whatever, and they suck at it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see, because it's sort of weird when they go, "Man, we're shit." But you're like, actually, you were pretty competent in the fight against Sentry. He's just Sentry.
I think
I would have loved to have seen a scene. Again, it's not really a criticism that's not in the movie, but I think it would have been fun where you see them try to do the classic Avengers fight where they're moving in sync, but they're like not. Where
they're like hitting each other.
Yeah, he's like on your left, and then as he runs, Ghost is like, "What are you talking about?" They bump into each other. The shield rolls out of the way. Red Guardian slips on it. Maybe not that slapstick. But you know what I mean?
No, they could have done that.
Where it's like,
in a bit
they do sort of do that. I think, the breakout goes wrong, but then they all do play their part, and it does work.
And the breakout
in the end.
is that, but I think then they kind of go from that to immediately being a really competent fighting team.
I mean,
and that's fine. I just think that would have been a fun scene to see.
Yeah.
Then I think when they have that thing later on, they're like, they are shit. You know what I mean? Whereas I didn't necessarily
I will say
feel
that
like
even though there's no big third act fight, and the ending is cool, it does feel like that there should be more movie.
I also think you could have done this as well. This is what I was thinking last night. There could have been a scene. It felt a bit rushed to go from, they have the Sentry fight, they go down in the street, then Sentry goes evil, then they fight Sentry. I feel like there could have been
They're only with Sentry for like 10 minutes.
There could have been a bit where maybe it's like, they're like, we suck, and they just fully break up. And then we see them living kind of like the sad, shitty lives. And in the background, you see Sentry saving the day a bunch. It's kind of like a nice juxtaposition of like, we fucked it up and Sentry's nailing it. And
So
then when
a bit of a slow decline of Sentry.
yeah,
as opposed to
and then when
instant.
Sentry goes void, they're like, even though we've given up and we're saying we're not this, oh, you know what, we are this, and they save the day.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I
reckon
agree. It felt like they needed something in the middle there.
I think what this movie does that is why, because it's not a short, like it's
nearly
2 hours and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't feel it.
No, it feels brisk. But I think what this movie also is it kind of feels like Thunderbolts and a Thunderbolts sequel in one.
Yeah.
Like as in like the first half of the movie should probably have a villain
Yeah.
that's not Bob.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking
then
like,
it builds towards Bob going crazy and becoming a villain. Because you kind of need,
Like I was kind of thinking, like, them fighting up the tower, for example. I'm like, yeah, that would work. But again, they're just kind of either just fighting like goons and whatever. But
you need them to fight.
I'm like, if they had like a mid-tier villain that they could kind of do. And again, I understand it's like not everything is with punching and that kind of stuff. But you kind of maybe wanted something there. Like maybe Fontaine had like, and this is where you could have your cameo fuckfest from like comics, not just like MCU business, but like comic book business, where you're like, oh yeah, cool. Here's some like, D-list villains or whatever. And then it's just like, they are incompetent, but they actually beat them up.
Yeah,
Like not because they're a good team, just because, Fontaine had shit superheroes.
Yes, for sure.
But that being said, like in theory, these ideas work, but I do think that if the MCU now put that into the movie, it would make the movie worse.
Yes, 100%,
So I think that this is probably the best they could have possibly done.
The best version of it.
And like you get the credit scene, not the post-credit scene, but in between. Where it's just like, who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah.
That was good.
Not my Avengers.
Fuck these Avengers.
Heard around the world.
Yeah, that's good. That's fine.
But I will say that because this feels like it could have been the plot of two movies brought together. It bums me out that even though I have made a bet that I don't think they do a hard universe reset, it bums me out that Doomsday's around the corner because I don't think we're going to see this team.
Well, this is what I was saying when we talked about it last time. We got kind of hyped for it. I was like, it's kind of a shame because we theorized. We were like, maybe Doomsday will open with them just getting decimated. And it's like, whoa, Doom's he destroyed the Avengers. And I think that sucks because I love asshole Avengers. I love these characters that are not bad people, but they're complicated people who aren't
they're not
like
squeaky clean.
They're not virtuous necessarily.
You give Steve Rogers the super serum. You get Captain America.
Yeah, exactly.
You give a guy who has depression and a meth addiction the serum. You get Bob.
Exactly, and I think it's fun. I want to see this Avengers try it because I think this is the movie they've come together.
Yeah.
But now I want to see them try to be the Avengers. I think that's an interesting. If you give me a Thunderbolts 2 where I get to see fucking what's his name? Not Tom Walker.
Yeah, Tom Walker. Famous
clown. No.
John Walker.
Walker.
How's he going to mime out of this one? Tom, tell me. Make me feel things about a little coat.
Tom, you can't beat the Sentry by miming sucking your own dick.
Like, it'll amuse him and me, but I don't think it's going to stop
I think you're going to get squished. But yeah, I want to see John Walker have to do the squeaky clean Captain America stuff that he has no time for, and to keep his anger and that's interesting to me. I don't think we're gonna get it. My greatest fear for Doomsday now is that the new Avengers will act as the comedic relief to Sam Wilson's real Avengers, and I think that stinks.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll be like Sam Wilson and Hulk and Ant-Man and the guys you love.
Yeah,
they're having
Hulk and Hulk's son.
Scar's here, and also we're checking in on the goofball Avengers over here, and they're doing a comedic scene.
No, they're all just farting.
Yeah, they're farting in each other's mouths, dude.
And on the shields, and they're off a cliff.
Yeah, they've all got diarrhea or whatever.
I think what they could do is, if I'm right, and this isn't a full hard reset, but just brings bits and pieces together, they could keep the Thunderbolts as basically the equivalent of New Guardians of the Galaxy, but just Earth-based stuff. And the fact that they can't go to space is their whole thing.
Oh, yeah,
and anytime things go to space, it's like, well, fuck.
That's not for us.
Can't ride Bob's.
Yeah. For sure. Well, again,
I mean, but then also having Bob in I guess that's not that crazy, because Groot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Capable of a lot.
And Bob is just
Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Bob is just hey, if we never see him as a Sentry again, probably good.
Yeah.
He's just
he's in Doomsday.
I know, as in
he's on the chair.
Yeah, I know that. As in if we never see him as Sentry, he's just Bob.
Yeah.
It would be funny
if I can't do this.
I can't do that. It's too much.
No.
I have to keep myself in check.
Yeah.
What's Bob been in?
But I guess, the fear is that what happened to Guardians of the Galaxy in Infinity War and Endgame will happen to new Avengers in Doomsday and Secret Wars.
I think people have already
which would be a bummer.
People have already spoken about this before, but Lewis Pullman is his big role that I kind of remember him from is Top Gun Maverick, where he
Yeah.
plays a character called Bob.
Interesting.
His two biggest roles are going to be
That's
Bob.
very interesting. 2 Bobs.
Yeah,
Two
he's also in the
Bobs.
Ballad of the Ballad.
Shaving a haircut.
Shaving a haircut, 2 Bobs.
Yeah,
God damn.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh,
You like that
that's
movie?
a great movie.
He plays Miles Miller.
He is in
Yeah.
that film.
Wow.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's the like the combat vet, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
He was like, yeah, the most fucked up thing I ever saw was someone, they came in, he chained a wolf to a bed.
Yeah,
Didn't do anything, he just laid there with him.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
What a film.
I gotta watch that movie again.
That film
It's
rules.
really good.
Ah,
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thor at his sexiest.
That's right. Oh, fuck, dude. Chris Hemsworth is so hot in that
Like,
movie. Holy
fuck,
shit,
like,
dude.
Makes me want to either join a cult or be a cult leader, because damn.
He's got that crazy deep V. Like his
Those
fucking
cum gutters are like
cum gutters are
on
crazy,
point.
dude.
Someone's.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it's Bob in this. I was like,
Yeah.
there's a shirtless superhero in this that's like, god damn.
Yeah,
it's
that's Bob.
It-
Yeah,
it
you
was
see when he
very-
gets
yeah.
shot to shit.
That
yeah.
was a very funny moment of like, what? He didn't need to get shredded, but he did.
Yeah.
Classic superhero
yeah,
films.
dude.
But at the same time, it kind of fits his character just to be ripped for no reason.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
He spends most of it just in like in scrubs, basically, a
Yeah.
medical gown.
Kind of
Yeah.
wandering around being like, what the hell's happening?
Hey, sorry guys, I'm just Bob.
I'm
man.
just Bob. I don't know what's going on. I liked that because a lot of the trailers kind of made Bob seem like he would be the comic relief, and like he had funny moments, but it was very nice that it
He's
just kind
mostly
of
just
wasn't.
there.
Yeah,
Right. Bucky is interesting because again, he is like one of the mainstays of the MCU. He's like one of the he's been in like every other film.
Yeah.
yeah.
And like he's in this film, but he's not like the main character.
No.
Like he is a very pivotal. He does a very good role. In
But
what he
he's
does.
truly
but I'm like,
not the focus.
honestly, he is really good as an ensemble cast here because
Yeah.
he's not that standout. Like
Yeah.
he fills a really good role. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
and I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, yeah, Yelena, standout character. John Walker, standout character. Bob, standout character.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, Bucky, not really stand
No.
out, but he's there and
He does what he needs
a
to.
really good job at it. Same with Ghost.
Yeah.
Not a huge standout like
I do
role,
wish
but
Ghost was
also
developed a little bit more. I agree though. I think she did a great job.
Did they develop her in Ant-Man and the Wasp and we just
No,
don't
I
remember?
don't
Not
think so.
really.
But that might be where we were talking about.
Because Goliath made her.
Yeah.
You know, if Goliath was in
there
like
was
a cut
probably-
scene.
That's what I'm.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Or that
reckon
she-
there is cutscenes of everyone's
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. That
Because then
would make
Goliath
sense.
would be in
That's
Ghost.
when I remember watching it and being like, oh, now we're going to see Goliath.
Well, I thought we
but
were going to get a ScarJo cameo, but there's no cameos in this movie.
No. which is
Unless
pretty
you
cool.
count the post-credit scene where you get the Fantastic Four song.
Yeah.
And on the ship.
And
the
the
ship.
logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there probably was a
Which
scene
Nick
where
Mason
they
had spoiled for himself because he read the credits and they said Fantastic Four theme and he was like, what? Oh, I know what's about to happen
That's
now.
funny.
The belligerent idiots in front of you did not read the
Yeah.
screen, so we were very surprised.
I was dealing with my fucking insane water bottle. or
You know,
whatever.
you were dealing with the, am I about to have diarrhea?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Actually, I was.
Yeah, again, I think you mentioned it last night, JD, where it's like, I hope that the Fantastic Four film kind of ends with the reverse of what
Yeah.
we see in Thunderbolts,
Have
where they
like a
break
con-
through their universe into this universe.
Yeah, have
Which,
a continuation of the Thunderbolts post-credit scene in the Fantastic Four post-credit
Yeah.
scene where they're just like have Thunderbolts be the first people to discover Fantastic Four and be
Yeah.
like, who are you? What the fuck
think
is
that would
going
be
on?
great.
Where'd she go? Oh,
guess-
there she is again.
I guess, you know-
she's invisible.
You guys are so much better than us.
So
Where's
funny
she
just
gone?
Narrate that when you meet her. Where is she? There she is. She's invisible. I get it now.
Yeah.
I guess, I was like, oh, it's kind of a shame that this new Avengers will be pushed to the side by Sam Wilson's Avengers. But if you think about it, Sam Wilson's Avengers is a bunch of MCU actors that are probably close to MCU retirement age.
Yeah.
So whether or not they stick around, I actually don't know.
Also,
Yeah.
where are we seeing them? Maybe we see them in like Doomsday, and they're the ones that get pasted straight
Yeah.
away.
Like what,
And
you
also,
got-
like who's there? We don't know.
You got
Paul
Again,
Rudd.
Paul Rudd, the Hulk, by which I mean Mark Ruffalo, Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yep. Thor, Chris
Thor,
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Klee?
No.
Well, we don't know what the fuck is going to happen with all of the characters that have been like, because like, are we going to see Sharon Carter?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
Power Broker somehow going to tie into this?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Will
Not at
she
all.
be there? Maybe.
Yeah, because when you mentioned her once again, forgot her again. But like, yeah, she would have probably been suited for either this film or Captain America.
Yeah,
About her working with
anyone. Like, hey, yeah, she's the reason that she's got the powers. Like, she's the power broker. She gave to President Red Hulk powers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She
She's
was
the reason.
head of
She's
the
kind
Sentry
of
project
part
or
of the
whatever.
reason
I
the
wonder-
Sentry
I mean,
project
look-
because Elaine from V paid her a shit ton of money. That's the kind of bullshit. Like,
Unless they've learnt their lesson from the Marvels, sort of, where they're like, people aren't watching the TV show, so we can't tie it too heavily into those.
yeah.
Well,
fair
again,
enough.
this all happened in Kingpin's New York. And
Yeah.
is it going to be referenced in Daredevil season 2?
Yeah, there'll be one episode where everyone
dark.
disappears for a second and then comes
Must
back
be,
and they're like,
yeah.
what the fuck was that?
fucked up being again in the MCU to be like, I was here, then I was gone for 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I came back. The world had changed. But that's all right. My wife
moved on
had
with-
left me. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I've moved on
I
with my
understand.
life.
I kind of, it's hard to open up a bank account when you're dead, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm here. Soldiered on. I voted for a guy who thought it was, about change and togetherness. He turned out to be a Hulk and he destroyed the White House.
Shit happens.
That's fine. And now I'm a Shadow Man.
Yeah, and then now I've been sent to my trauma. I don't know why.
The trauma I guess I'm living is me not being here for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I gotta relive that again.
I'm back to
I
that.
guess.
Yeah.
Sick.
I guess we're just meant to assume, in terms of Daredevil continuity, that this takes place before Daredevil.
Or after.
Or after, yeah. Because I just think Kingpin would have something to say about it, dude.
Just think Kingpin would be like, in New York, I love Vanessa.
I went somewhere. Oh, God, he's awesome.
Love him so much.
Gone.
I became a shadow. Vanessa. I must rebuild.
Went to my dark place, but I crushed it, and I've become stronger
than I
ever
ever
thought
was.
I'm going to take back New York from the Shadow Men.
I do, yeah.
Kingpin's going a
Kingpin's
bit more
gone crazy. That's nice. This movie it did bum me out to think about the next Avengers movies, and it made me want a timeline or a reality where we were just seeing like a grounded, more traditional Avengers movie where I had to see these characters test their mettle against their first real challenge. I don't know. That
You're
to
right.
me is a more interesting movie than the fuckfest we're gonna get.
Yeah.
Never. Having said that, I think this movie was great.
Yeah.
I had a very good time with it.
Had
I'm
a good
shocked
time.
at the amount of good time I had with it.
Yeah, again, so surprising. It is sad to know that we have the Fantastic Four and then Doomsday.
Yeah.
And that's it. It sucks that we kind of understand that, like we're not going to live in this moment anymore.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a bit depression.
This is temporary.
Yeah. This sort of once again, the MCU have really nailed like hit out of the park of what it is like to be a comic book fan.
Yeah.
They've really understood the idea of like when you strike gold and maybe accidentally and people kind of gel with it.
Yeah.
And that you really have a good time with it. And they didn't plan for that.
No,
so
they didn't expect it.
Yeah.
we're destroying that now before we had like time to play with it.
Yeah,
So
I
what
bet
you're feeling is what I was feeling when Hickman left X-Men.
The
and
House of X stuff ended?
Yeah. Hawks and Pox was so fucking good, and for so long it was like the best fucking book in the world. And then Hickman left because they're like, hey, yeah, you guys want to play around this? That's fine. And
we've
so
released 12 excellent issues, and we haven't had anyone come along and fuck it yet.
Exactly. And so it was like, hey, Hickman was like, I have this idea, this like 3-act structure.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna but like all the other writers were like, we like this. We want to play in this sandbox. And so it was like, okay, cool. And so he was like, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna set it up for like my act 2 or whatever I imagined was gonna be act 2, but I'm gonna change a few things because that's where you guys want to like play around in. And that's great. And so they're like, sweet, we get to play around with it. And so they played around with it maybe for a year because that's the thing it was kind of like Hickman was gonna think it ended within 12 months. And so maybe we got an extra like 6 months before they were like, well, MCU is going to take on the X-Men, so we need to like burn this to the fucking ground and let's do the old bullshit again.
Yeah.
So like, can you wrap up this in the most convoluted garbage way possible?
Wolverine's
Thanks.
not dead. He was just a statue or whatever.
Oh, that happened years ago.
No, I
No,
know.
Wolverine's
Wolverine
going
was a
back in fucking
statue?
time, man. It fucking sucks.
Wolverine, remember, this is like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
They made a huge deal about the fact Wolverine was finally going to die.
Yeah.
He got encased in
Adamantium.
adamantium.
He did die,
but
but
he was
then the
just
next
alive in there.
Now, the next episode or next issue, whatever, there's like Old Man Logan popped up from the future, and so you're like, oh, okay.
That's cool because they wrecked Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, no,
Like
it's
Old
good
Man Logan
shit,
is a
yeah,
standalone
yeah,
comic. It's
yeah,
great. And they were like,
yeah.
what if he's in the real?
Yeah.
it's good
And
shit.
Dr.
So, yeah,
Manhattan
it's-
met Batman.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So it's really nice that the MCU can really like, I guess, capture that
Yeah.
feeling of
Yeah.
being a comic book fan of like, I was really excited for this.
And then wrapping it with, and it's so funny. It's so funny that like to me, if they were like the next movie, the premise of a bunch of guys who are very bad at being superheroes have been thrust into the limelight and have to be superheroes just like up against fucking Abomination or whatever is such a like a million times more interesting than Doctor Doom is bringing the X-Men from the Fox universe to fight the guys from the universe,
Yeah.
over 2 movies.
Someone needs to save Florence Pugh from the MCU.
They really do.
Wyatt Russell deserves better too.
Yeah, dude.
David Harbour, he's done enough dog shit. that he's probably well within his element in the MCU.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like him. It's just like that's what he's used to.
Yeah, that's what he's comfortable with.
Yeah.
He's
dude.
got Stranger
done Stranger Things for 5
he's like,
seasons or
it's
whatever.
coming to an end at some
6
point
seasons.
soon.
Yeah, and that's
nice.
still good and not slop. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I stopped watching it season 3.
It's pretty good. We watched it. It's like it's still good.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like one of those things where like
It's gone too long.
No.
Wait,
not
is
just
he
that.
still in it though?
Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
in it. It feels like
Oh,
again
yeah,
because
he
like,
was
we
gone
watched
and
it
then he
during
came back.
COVID. I want
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
we sort of caught up to it all. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, this would be cool if it was sort of like you know, like not just good. It is good. It's like if it was sort of like had come out earlier or like had come, it's like, oh, cool. Like this would be really cool if it was, not a big gap between seasons.
The gap's crazy. That's what turned me off. I was
so,
like, I don't remember what happened to these people.
Phil Wolfhard, Bud,
It's sort of the same again with like this
Millie
film.
Bobby Brown.
If this film had come out,
Drake
almost
shouldn't have texted her.
he shouldn't.
He shouldn't have done that. That is true.
If this film had come out, after Endgame, like 1 or 2 movies after Endgame, would have been like, oh, cool.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Damn, I understand.
I know what's
Well,
happening
yeah,
next
this
for
is- I'm
Avengers.
excited.
Yeah. No.
It should have even if it was like where Quantumania was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you need Black Widow. This movie doesn't work without Black Widow.
correct.
Black Widow should have been it doesn't work because of the cast, but Black Widow should have happened
Yeah.
before Civil War, where it set. Like if it was where
No, I think you could even do Endgame, Black Widow, whatever those movies were.
I think
I
it was
look honestly,
Spudman.
Spider-Man.
I wouldn't
sure.
even. Okay, so Endgame, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, I guess, but also at this point you probably don't need it.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking Captain America Red Hulk. You honestly didn't even need to watch that.
Yeah.
get
Oh, not
this
at all.
film. Like
I
this
don't-
film didn't need, like it didn't need Captain America Brave New World to happen or New World Order, whatever it's called. It didn't need that because again, like it's barely mentioned. It's kind of offhandedly. It's just like, yes, Falcon is Captain America, but you didn't.
Yeah.
They
But
just,
also,
they
I
sort
mean,
of
like,
mentioned,
that's an
like,
Endgame
Hulk is
thing.
a
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But like again,
The last guy turned into an angry red Hulk. or
You didn't need
whatever.
that. You didn't need that. That could have been
was
cut. It was fine.
unnecessary. Yeah.
And he could have been this like, well, Sam Wilson is like he's Captain America, and he, is suing you for whatever for the Avengers name. But like that also works directly after Endgame.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
if you haven't seen Sam Wilson pop up,
Yeah.
or if you've only seen him.
I
in
guess
the
it
TV
is
show.
like technically a little bit
So-
exciting because you know that Sam Wilson was thinking about starting the Avengers up again in Captain America
Yeah.
4.
I guess.
And like that's a sign that it has happened because this is a time jump.
that
Yeah.
is true. That is true.
I think it'll be very interesting if we
Maybe
get...
the time jump is after Doomsday.
Yeah. Well, they go. Yeah. There's this, what's,
Maybe
it's good.
Yeah.
maybe Doomsday's already happened and the Thunderbolts are all okay.
They survived it, and then the Fantastic Four are coming, and that's the next thing.
Yeah, that comes after Doomsday.
Dude,
It comes after and says half that copium.
Yeah. I really
it's
hope
good.
that,
It's good.
that you're right, and that it's like the Thunderbolts have to deal with Galactus. Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Captain
The
America
next,
with his
the next
red
moment
shield.
after the Fantastic Four car
Yeah.
comes through or whatever, it's Galactus's hand.
Yeah.
And they got to ride Bob up there.
Yeah.
I like that his shield's still bent.
Me too. That's great.
14 months later, his shield's still fucked.
And
How are they going to
love-
unbend it?
Such a nice detail, and it says so much about the character, and I loved it so much. Such a little thing where you see U.S. Agent's shield, like when it's still intact, and it's just fucked.
Yeah.
It's covered in bullets, bullet like holes, and little nicks
Hasn't
and
been
digs.
repainted at any point.
Yeah, I was like, that's awesome because I can see the amount of shit he's done in that shield. That's so cool.
I like the little kind of like arcs in a weird way, or like the little kind of growth that they have about like, you know, what they do they like this, whatever. Everyone is so insecure.
Yeah.
Bob is like, I shouldn't dye my hair. Everyone's, I don't know, feels weird about it. And like, you know, US agent being like, do you like the helmet?
Yeah.
And Yelena being like, do you like the helmet? And then 14 months later, he's in a beret. You know, it's wonderful.
It's good.
It's really good. It's just like, yeah,
they said they
he
kept calling it a hat.
didn't like that. He was very self-conscious about the helmet.
I just love that he's sort of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he doesn't become like
Better.
he deals
He's still
with
an
his
asshole.
trauma or whatever, but he's still kind of a piece
I like
of
that
shit.
he's like playing his cards close to his chest, and then Bucky just rolls in and is like, yeah, your wife left you and took the kid. Like, I know.
Yeah, dude.
And
We
like,
know each other.
Yeah.
And like he's like, you know, they're not going to kill me. I got like a wife and kid at home. I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay.
All right,
okay.
dude, whatever. That was great.
Yeah. Anyway, good movie.
Yeah,
movie.
I'm shocked, dude.
Good movie.
Good movie.
Can't wait.
For them to fuck it.
Yeah.
In the arse.
Yeah.
And can't wait for Australia to fuck it in the arse.
Yeah, brother.
Well,
Do you think Fantastic Four is going to be good?
Yeah.
yes, but I think Doomsday will be bad.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
I think,
I think Fantastic Four will be fine, and then Doomsday will be bad. That's my
As the
theory.
trailer for Doomsday, when we watched Thunderbolts, it was saying it's in production now.
Yeah.
So that means that they currently probably only have half a script.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
with the reaction maybe about Thunderbolts. And maybe we'll, you know, they'll maybe kind of, you know, zig instead of zagging.
Yeah,
But
that's
they-
a good
yeah,
point.
Or maybe
I
they'll
mean-
zog. I don't know.
Maybe they'll be like, well, initially we were going to make Sam Wilson's Avengers the main one, but Captain America 4 was 1 million assholes.
so when we've, like, at time of recording, the embargo has lifted, which is good for us and our ongoing relationship with Disney. But the critical reception of this is, I mean, we're not in the minority.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh, this is a good one. So hopefully that makes people go see it. And my best friend Nerdrotic hasn't posted that it's too woke or yet anything.
It's coming.
Yeah. He'll be
It's
like,
about mental health and loving each other. So,
Yeah, didn't end in a big fight. So
Yeah.
what's that about?
and also, power scaling. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
But he went-
Also, main character girl. I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, this shows that and look, hey, I respect the hustle and grift. I just don't respect him as a man.
Yeah.
But yeah, Furiosa came out and he was like, woke garbage. But then at the end of the year, he was like, and they tried something original with Furiosa, which is a good movie, and it bombed.
Yeah, dude. So it's all a grift.
Furiosa work. You suck.
Yeah, dude.
You're the dumbest.
And
cunt.
also, like, he's done a lot of stuff like, I went to prison because I was addicted to drugs and I was selling drugs.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. And he's like, mental health's important. And then this movie's about mental health, and he'll be like, woke garbage.
Too much loving each other.
Yeah.
Also, a thing I saw before the movie came out is so many people being like, doesn't even make sense. How are they meant to fight Sentry? They're not strong. They're not. The Hulk should fight Sentry.
Yeah, the Hulk should fight.
And people
Sentry.
were like, yeah, that's like an interesting premise to a movie. Is like, how are they going to do it? Not like, I guess they just will.
Yeah.
But it's funny that I think that's been kind of like baked into the way people think about these movies.
A lot of people hated Remember the lead up to Captain Marvel? People were like,
Yeah.
if Captain Marvel's so strong, she can just kill Thanos straight away, and that's boring.
Well, and I remember when they part of the marketing for
Go
Captain
on
Marvel.
r/power scaling and then
Yeah.
shoot yourself in the head.
Because I remember when the marketing for Captain Marvel appearing in Endgame and Infinity War is they were like, she's the most powerful event. Like, that was the way they sold her, because I guess there's a portion of the audience that's like,
Wrong with
I
the
need
world?
the
With
strongest guy.
Like, what is just wrong with it? Like fucking cunts. Are we? And we're probably part of the problem, and especially very
Definitely
early
we're part
on.
of the problem.
Like, Jesus Christ.
We're part of like 8
Oh,
problems.
100%. So belligerent. But it's like, you know, it's like, oh, who's going to win in a fight? You know, Superman or Batman? Who's going to win a fight? You know, Iron Man or Batman?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
When,
I mean,
they did, like, you know, Marvel v DC back in the day, and they're probably going to do it again, and they're probably going to make a movie out of it.
Yeah.
Like, again,
Fuck,
it's
dude.
not about, like,
He's right.
He's right. It's written by other dumb cunts. Like, it's written by fucking people. They're gonna go with whatever's interesting. Like, in an arm wrestle, I don't give a shit if I don't know, Superman would win against say Thor. But like in a fight against them, I also don't give a shit who will win because why are they fighting? That's more interesting. If they have a reason to fight, if there's a
Yeah, man. But it's clearly been baked into the idea of these movies. I mean, they must be pivoting it away from it now. I don't know, but But yeah, that was definitely a thing I saw. And I wonder if people will say that about this movie too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so swag giveaway.
Yeah.
And if if you somehow have a connection to Nerdrotic,
Yeah.
let them know. Listen to this episode. Come on the show.
Yeah, dude.
We'd love to. And also, like, you're so brave. Talk about how funny it is to fuck a dog.
Yeah,
That's the baseless
exactly,
speculation
dude.
way.
Exactly.
We can say anything.
You
Exactly.
motherfuckers out there saying slurs, we're saying, what if you fuck the dog and its tail wags?
Yeah.
Okay? We're actually pushing boundaries. Wrong boundaries.
Wrong boundaries.
Oh, no, I might get demonetized on YouTube if I
Yeah.
don't beep fuck. Fuck you.
They might
Yeah.
send me to jail for the things I'm saying.
They'll send you to a gulag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rightly
big time.
so.
The Viet Cong are reforming to try and
Just
take
for
me down.
Just for you. Yeah.
Anyway, Nerdrotic, come on the show. Would
Yeah.
love to hear your thoughts on whatever's gone woke now so we can tell you you're a fuckwit.
Yeah.
We will listen.
Yeah.
Because nerd things is the most important thing in the world. You're so right.
Yeah, we won't just talk over you like
Yeah.
we do our good friends anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
We're beefing. We're starting a beef, dude.
I like things, and even I can understand that they're stupid. So
Yeah.
if you're dedicating your life to being like, wow, Hollywood's wrecked the most important thing in the world, Superman comics, you're a fucking idiot. You're so stupid.
Just say that
You're
sentence
the
out
dumbest
loud to
man in the
yourself.
world. So yeah, shout out to my
fuck.
YouTube algorithm and shout out to all the listeners. And if you want to support the show, just subscribe to Baseless Speculation Plus.
Exactly.
And if you want to support us as a whole, sign up to SANSPANTS Plus. You get
Exactly.
more stuff. It's not just Baseless Speculation related. It's, I would say, equally or less angry than this. Probably less.
Basis
Depends on the
speculation is
show.
probably our angry. Well, it depends. Basis speculation, our anger goes outward, and Plummy the Death Star goes into me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let us know. Did you like Thunderbolts? And on that note, I've been Joe.
I've been Jackson.
I've also been Joe.
This has been another episode of Baseless Speculation, and we've been the BS boys.
What do you think of that?
Anything I said that counts as libel or slander?
We were joking.
It
He was
was
joking all
ju-
the
a
It was
time.
in Minecraft.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work anymore because
Fuck.
someone threatened to kill a cop in Minecraft, and
Yeah.
that cop is someone that's just like, I do not respect 4chan, and I'll arrest every single person on the
That
website.
is smart. I mean, there are cops, so ACAB, but also it's smart not to respect 4chan.
He also doesn't respect cops. He's a weird guy. There's videos about him. I forget his name.
okay.
Though.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but everything we said was a joke, maybe.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Da 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 da.